The new Topstep no activation fee accounts. Let's go ahead and dive into this. If you guys aren't familiar with Topstep, it is a futures prop firm. They used to only have these standard accounts, which would require you to pay an activation fee for each account. So with Topstep, you can have up to 5 accounts. So being able to have access to these 5 accounts and then having to pay activation fees on top of them was quite expensive. Now they have the no activation fee. So if you were to have bought a account for $49 and then pay the $129 every single time you passed for 5 accounts, let's look at the math for this. So with the no activation fee, it's just $89 all in. So I've written this out. $49 plus the $129 is going to give you $178 all in fee. With 5 accounts, that's giving you a total of $890. Have I done it? Yes. $89 now is much nicer. So if you're entering the prop firm space or looking to get involved with Topstep, this is definitely a better option. With 4 or 5 accounts, your all in is $445. So when we come back and we look at this now, everything remains the same. The profit targets, the maximum position sizing in the evaluation, and the maximum loss limit, everything stays the same. So let's dive into how this works. So a trading combine is essentially just a evaluation. A combine, evaluation, same thing. So the one thing to point out here when you are in a evaluation with Topstep is that they do have a 50% consistency rule. What does that mean? So with our profit target being $3,000, we know that we can only make 50% of that because there is a 50% consistency rule, meaning that we can make $1,500. So that is where they are getting 2 days to pass, 2 days to earn your funding, because you can make that in as little as 2 days. $1,500 one day, $1,500 the next day. Okay, so the only other rule is to not hit the daily loss limit. What is the daily loss limit on a 50K account? Again, it is going to be that $2,000. If you go up in account sizes, obviously everything changes. 50% consistency rule remains the same across all accounts. Of course, you're just getting a larger drawdown amount. Okay, so now when we look at, say we got funded, what does that look like, right? So in order to get a payout, what does that look like? We have to have 5 winning days, $150 or more. So you must have the $150. They do not need to be consecutive days. Just an accumulative 5-day of $150 or more. There is a scaling plan as well. We'll dive into that right now. So let's go ahead and let's look at this. One thing I do want to point out is that with these multiple accounts, you can have up to 750K in buying power all at once. So that is pretty cool as far as understanding that you can have up to $750,000. However you want to break this down to make that make sense. One thing that is very true with this though is that you can only have one live funded account. So these are express funded accounts where you can have 5 of them and make, money with them, but you can only, once you're moved to live, you can only have 1 account. What does that look like? So your express funded accounts, right? Eligible for payouts after 5 winning days. We just went over that. Of the $150 or more, you pay yourself 50% of your balance, up to $5,000 per payout. So in the live accounts, you are doing the same exact thing until you have hit 30 winning days. Do they need to be consecutive? No, right? So after 30 winning days, you have full access to all of your capital. So there are uncapped daily payouts once you have reached 30 winning days non-consecutively. So once you get moved, also, well, I guess we should say this first. You move to live after you've reached 5 payouts in a single express funded account, or sooner if a risk team thinks you're ready. So your starting live balance is set by your total XFA balances up to your largest XFA. So 50K, 100, or 150K. Again, understanding that the days do not need to be consecutive. So we already kind of went over this. You get 50%. So say you made $1,000, then you would, be eligible for $500. If you made $2,000, then you'd be eligible for $1,000, and so on, up to $5,000. So in order to get that full payout cap, the 50%, you're looking at a $10,000 5-day winning period of $10,000 in a cumulative profit to be able to receive $5,000. Something I want to make everybody very aware of is that this is coming soon for new Express funded accounts. It is, in my opinion, a little bit like a buffer. I don't see anything wrong with this. It keeps you accountable, it keeps you consistent, which you need to be a successful trader. So it hasn't went live yet, so check the pinned comment. If you guys have any questions, leave it down in the comments. But let's talk about this and what this kind of looks like. The key word to understand here is that your last eligible payout. That's the key word here, last eligible payout. What does that mean? Let's break it down with their examples here. So if your first payout, right, you had your 5 days and you made $6,000. Your eligible payout balance is $3,000. Why? Because you have that 50%. So you made $6,000, 50% is $3,000. Your eligible payout balance is $3,000. So your next payout, right, has to be above $3,000 to be eligible for a payout. Okay, your current balance, $3,600. You're eligible. So half of $3,600 is going to give you that $1,800. So you have to have $1,800 in your account to be eligible for a payout. Okay, your balance is $4,000. You're above the $1,800. That was just your previously eligible payout. So you're above. So now you can take your payout. You're at $4,000. You're still getting that 50%, right? So $2,000. Your fourth payout, your current balance is only $1,800. The $2,000 that you were eligible, right? Your eligible payout, you're not there in your 5 days. So you're going to have to continue to trade to get above the $2,000. So once you're above the $2,000, then you potentially take your 50%, which is $1,000. But by that point, we're already what? 3, 4, almost 5 payouts in. On our 6th payout, we know that we could potentially be moved to a live, right? 5 payouts, excuse me, not 6. So after the 5th payout, we could be ready to be moved to live potentially, right? And we're just going to rinse and repeat the same behaviors and the same payouts that we just did, because we're looking to hit those 30 days so we can have full access and daily payouts to all of our money. Okay, so this hasn't went into effect yet, so keep checking back on the pinned comment or I'll make a new video about it. But just to keep you guys in the know that this potentially is something that will be happening with Topstep. As far as the scaling plans go, you can easily see with a 50K account, you are eligible for 2 contracts, 3 contracts, and 5 contracts, anything above $2,000 in your account balance. One thing I do want to point out here that some people have asked me is that once you get to these numbers, are you required to trade all of the, are you required to trade all of those contracts? No. So you are not required to trade the maximum number of contracts. You can trade as many contracts as you would like, or whatever works for your trading style, your trading plan. Understand that they're just giving you access to more contracts if you would like to. And there's some other information here if you guys would like to read over it, but essentially this is the most important stuff. This is just a rinse and repeat behavior. You come up with a plan for yourself. We go over this in my community as far as what this looks like, how to break these down, how to make yourself a trading plan. If you guys need help with that, let me know in the comments. There will be a link to my trading community if you guys have any questions about that. So I hope this was helpful for some of you, and I will see you guys in the next video. Make sure you guys are liking and subscribing to the channel so I can continue to make videos like this for you guys. And if you have Any requests for any particular prop firm, leave it down in the comments.